Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. I had a lot of questions in my previous video about, because I kind of went into detail about how I spec for a battle troll, but didn't really actually show it, and had some more questions about the spec. So I thought I would do a separate video just showing how I spec for survival mode and how most trolls that I know that are approaching the high rounds spec the same as me. There might be slight variations, which I'll go into, but this is the general idea here. Because honestly, for survival mode, you don't need a power troll whatsoever. Power troll is more of a detriment because the troll is responsible for the bulk of the damage at higher rounds because you have to run 2 tanks. It's just kind of the luck of the draw with this 4-man SM. I don't necessarily prefer it. As you can see, I've never really battle trolled, never really liked battle trolling at all, but it's more of a necessity in the survival mode, which I'll kind of go into in future videos. Because I do have rounds 26 through 28 recorded and just kind of do a commentary over, and then I'll do a commentary over either 29 and 30 or just 30, but that's coming up here. But let's kind of get into the spec here. It's nothing too crazy. Like, obviously you've got dual as weapon. Now all the gear is going to be DPS gear, so I'm not going to have any kind of controller gear at all because it's not necessary. If your group is really struggling on power, which I can't really see them because I haven't run into any issues with the power, rounds 20 through 29. I've never seen any issues with power that the odd soda can't rectify, or like a supply drop. So really, it's better just to run the DPS gear instead of the controller gear, just for the extra precision. So as you can see, my neck mod, I'm running Relentless Precision. The neck mod, escalating procs doesn't make any sense because I'm running the claw, which we'll get into as an artifact. So I'm not even hitting defib that often. I'm only hitting it every 12 seconds to proc the claw. The head mod, dash attack, which I'll get into the supercharges in a moment. Chest, penetrating strikes, something like that. Instead of utility belt, the green crystal turret is going to be the most important trinket that you have for this entire survival mode. I'll show it when I show the rotation later on in this video, but essentially it's 10 seconds of burst damage, high burst, high ticks, which help in dropping like the icon suit, Ultimate Soldier's shield when the Minotaur is dazed. So all the damage is in 10 seconds compared to other trinkets where it's spread out over 60 seconds. So if your group is considering running high rounds at SM, like 20 plus or whatever, this is 100% an absolute necessity. Don't even bother going into survival mode without this trinket. Obviously you can have orbital strike, obviously you can have spy drop on the rounds, except you can't, like Deathstroke, you can't run a spy drop. Manta, you shouldn't be running a spy drop. So then you got some options like backup and such. I have the OMAC trinket over the DPS trinket. You could run the DPS trinket if you don't have the OMAC. OMAC just gives 5% critical attack chance, so it just helps with prec. Then the DPS trinket. So you got some choices. Obviously, you're not stuck with that one. That basically you have 3 and then your free choice. In terms of artifacts, 100% of the time it's going to be claw. Basically what this does is turns your controller instant recharge into larger power over time, as well as it gives a 7% restoration on dominance for 12 seconds, so it basically buffs the healers and the tanks, while giving you a chance to DPS because you're not having to continually recharge and hit instant power. Now the advantage of this is it doesn't necessarily have to be at 160. The 120 rank of the claw gives the group buff to 3 people, which obviously is good enough because you're doing a 4-man SM. The only difference at 160 is, besides the higher base stats, is that it's for 8 people instead of 3. So you can have this at 120 and be perfectly okay. Obviously 100% of the time you're going to get the Venomous Dispenser because that's where the battle aspect comes from, hitting battle display and then having the weapon buff increase on that by 54% of your precision. And then basically 9 times out of 10 you're going to be running the Amulet of Vow. Basically this is the one you're going to want at 160 because it basically increases your controller debuff. So kind of ignore what it says, debuffs are 40% stronger. Basically what that means is that your defense debuff instead of 10% is 14%, and your attack debuff is instead of 10% is 14%. The heal debuff doesn't matter because they only heal back, like Deathstroke heals back and Ultimate Soldier heals back, but they're mechanic based, so heal debuff does nothing. But at the higher rounds, like 20 plus, the extra defense debuff and the extra attack debuff do make a noticeable impact. Basically, it gives a greater chance for the group to survive, as well as, you're already doing weaker damage anyway, so you want that stronger defense debuff as well. Now you could sub that out for like the Grim book if you've got that at 160 for some extra pet damage and a pet target. You can. I've switched that out for the Dead King on some rounds, just where I need the faster trinket cooldowns and the harder hitting orbital. You can switch out for a breakout trinket, or sorry, what am I talking about? Yeah, so Dead King. You can switch it for the manacles. Manacles is going to be important on Manta. Basically, with this heat vision, you're going to want the manacles for that. So basically, yeah, that's about it. I don't really sub in, like Eye of the Gemini, I don't sub in Parasite Harness. It's not worth it because you're only using 2 debuffs instead of the 3, and you're not continually using it. And the Precision debuff is not that great. So, same thing, I'm not even using Supercharge that much, so Soul Cloak is pointless. So basically, it's going to be always these 3, and then some rounds you're going to switch out these 3, depending, obviously, if you have them. It's not a big deal, but this will be the actual spec. And obviously, as your Soda, you want to flex. So basically, in my affinity mods, I have Precision A and B. I have the debuff Efficiency, basically just for some extra crits. And then if we go into Augments, I have the 2 Vit Type A mods. Now, you could have Precision in these. I don't have Precision ones, and I wasn't going to level them up and buy all that just for survival mode. Not that necessary. I think you lose about 400 prec, 400 or 500 prec. I can't remember exactly. Or is it 400 each? I think it's like 392 prec each, so then you lose like 600 prec, but you gain 400 vit and an extra more power, stuff like that. So if you want to go full prec, you can, but I have vit mods, and then obviously I have the prec augments at the bottom. In terms of spec, same thing. Iconic powers, you're always going to want Amazon Flexion. You're going to want Neon Venom just in case, which I'll kind of get into in the loadout. Super Speed, you're always going to want Dash Attack. The weapons, obviously, you've got to max out dual wield, and you've got to max out bow. And then for the actual stat points, it's going to be weapons expert. You don't worry about hybrid, don't worry about super powered. You're focusing on weapon damage. So weapon expert, you're going to be using all the DPS crits, all the power crits, and then max out as much as you can in precision, and then put the rest in vit. So obviously, having almost 470 skill points, I can max this out a bit more, but obviously, the vit helps. The higher the vit you have, that's based on what the claw is based on for the pot. And then obviously you want prec. So this is basically a full battle build. You still want the controller crit, so that the claw crits. Like I'll show you in a moment, but usually my vit is around like 1100, 1000, and then it crits up to 16, 17, 1800 power. So obviously you want to max out both your crits and weapons expert. Some people may think that it's hybrid still, but it's not. It's weapon expert for the battle troll. So we can kind of get into rotation here, or actually loadout really. Like I said before, the most important thing is to have the attack debuff and the defense debuff. Defense debuff is supercharge generators, gadgets, which is nice. I guess technically, you could always put Sticky Bomb on. I just, have P-Dart on, but obviously you could save a little bit of power, but it's not really that big of a deal. You're going to want Defibrillator, obviously, because that's what you need to proc the claw. And then I have Holographic Decoy on, which is just for helping with reses. Supercharge wise, you could run Battle Drone, you could run Neo Venom, you could run Dash Attack. I switched it up depending on the round. Dash Attack's nice to get reses with because you can faster movement, break out of control effects, and have a shield. Neo Venom if you need some extra boost damage. And then Battle Drone, if your group is struggling a bit more in power, you can keep that. But I don't use the Supercharge that often. So we can kind of duck into Leak Hall, and I'll show you this rotation quick. Okay, so first to show you what actually the Green Crystal turret damage looks like, we'll pop that here. So you can actually see the burst ticks of it. Okay, so we got 148,432, and that's in 10 seconds. So obviously, like the Seahorse, Shadow Bat will do more damage over time, but that's in 60 seconds, where this is all the burst damage up front in 10. So like I said, in those moments in SM where you have to break something in a short time, this is the turret that you want to use. Now in terms of the claw here, we can kind of drain some power. And if I use the claw, as you can see, 1096, 1064, 1043. Basically, this is the tick with my pot. 1684 was the crit, 1669. So this is the power with the claw that you'll be giving out to the group that you have to refresh every 12 seconds. Which is still not bad. Like, that's still sustainable for a lot, because in SM, you don't really need burst power a lot for the healing, because it's all like slow, massive tick heals. Like, there's no dots they have to maintain. So minimal pod is really much all you need. And then worst case scenario, they have Soda and the Battle Drone as well if you need it. So then the actual rotation looks like just clipping the first debuff and then the second debuff. So we'll just do that here because it's going to be terrible because I'm still terrible with Flurry Shot. But whatever, yeah, you get the rotation there. Okay guys, good luck with your survival mode rounds, and get all those progress points, and look forward to videos to come. Take care guys, thanks for watching.